Hi, I'm Brian, and today I'm going to be taking a deep dive, a good look into this album from 1980, David Bowie's Super Creeps and Scary Monsters. Well, that didn't start off too well. 1980s, David Bowie's Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, and there it is. I picked up this original Australian pressing, and doesn't it just look so good on the RCA Victor label? It's been beaten up. I got it for $10, but I had to touch base with this album. And there's a couple of reasons for that. Now, the first one is that when it came out in 1980, I didn't get it. It completely alienated me. I found it abrasive. And I love the two singles, or the first two singles off the album, but the rest of it, I just, no, not for me. And so it got purged pretty quickly from my collection. Now, at that point, of course, I didn't have any idea who Robert Fripp was. I wasn't listening to King Crimson at all. And it was still another 2 or 3 years before he and they got onto my radar and assaulted my ears with all of that abrasive goodness. But at the time, I had no idea, and it was just too much for a 15-year-old guy's ears to withstand. But the other reason is it's held in incredibly high regard. And sometimes you got to listen to people and go, well, if you like it and you like it and you like it and you like it, well, there's got to be something good about it apart from the two singles. And there's also another thing as part of Bowie's iconography, I suppose, that any album that's released after Scary Monsters gets hit in the review with this. The way they praise these albums is to say it's his best album since Scary Monsters. Now, I really love this album, and I dropped a video of it just recently. David Bowie's Earthling. Of course, it's by David Bowie. But sure enough, when I looked up the crits, it was somebody said, I think it was from Rolling Stone, that it's the best album since Scary Monsters. I love this one as well, David Bowie's Outside. Well, of course, it's by David Bowie. And I'm sure somebody out there said, I love this album. It's the best album since Scary Monsters. So, how good is Scary Monsters? Well, it's co produced by David Bowie and Tony Visconti, and it features Dennis Davis on drums, George Murray on bass, Carlos Alomar on rhythm and lead guitars. Pete Townshend even gets a Guernsey on side too. And of course, Robert Fripp's there basically spray painting this graffiti style guitar all over the album. And says, absolutely love it. But let's hear what David Bowie has had to say. And if I can read for you, Scary Monsters for me has always been some kind of purge. Well, there's something we had in common. I purged it and he purged himself. It was eradicating the feelings within myself that I was uncomfortable with. You have to accommodate your past within your persona. And that's really interesting on the album cover because we have Heroes, Lodger, Low, and I even think somewhere on there's a reference to Aladdin Sane. He goes on to say, you have to understand why you went through them. That's the major thing. You cannot just ignore them or put them out of your mind or pretend they didn't happen and say, oh, I was different then. So was I different in 1980? And am I different now? And does this album deserve that sort of moniker, the best album since Scary Monsters? Well, let's find out. There was a sense going into this album that maybe Bowie needed a more commercial sound coming after the Berlin trilogy of Heroes, Low and Lodger. All fantastic albums, but maybe not playing to the full extent of David Bowie's commercial possibilities. And isn't that a terrible thing to say? And maybe some imitators were starting to rise up, like, for example, Gary Newman. Now, I don't kind of buy that because I think Gary Newman's a brilliant talent of his own. But maybe it was time for Bowie to re-establish himself as the king of the alternate music, the king of art, the king of avant-garde, and that sort of thing. And the music starts off with this sort of sound effects like going up in an elevator, which was apparently a tribute to the way Taxman by the Beatles started. And then Bowie counts out 1, 2, 3, 4 with the drumsticks going on as well, the count on the drumsticks. And we sound like we're in a rehearsal room. It's a kind of, again, a very visceral, abrasive sound. And then the band kicks in. And I'd never heard anything like this because I wasn't exposed to Robert Fripp at the time. But I always was waiting for Bowie's vocals. But we don't get that. We get a dominant and very strident Japanese vocalist, Michi Hirota, rather than Bowie to start. So we've got this abrasive feel, the Japanese singer. You want to go commercial? Well, cop a load of this. Unbelievable. And then the whole band comes in fully and Fripp's all over this. And Bowie is singing in this paranoid way. that his voice is breaking. He might be slightly out of tune on a couple of notes, but it's a screech of absolute paranoia and concern. It's a full-on assault to the senses, which belies the supposed need for a commercial album. I mean, you got Fripp, you got Michi Hirota, you got Bowie screaming and screeching, and you can tell I was thinking, what the hell was going on with this song back in the day? Lyrics here are quite stunning and featured in English on the first version of It's No Game and the second. Documentaries on refugees, couples against the target, you throw a rock against the road and it breaks into pieces, draw the blinds on yesterday and it makes it all so much scarier. Pull it a bullet in my brain and it makes all the papers. So what is the game? Is it the geopolitical situation? Is it that fear of nuclear Armageddon, the rise of omnipotent governments? And how many people by the end of this album, how many people at the end of this song have ever told Robert Fripp to shut up, shut up? No, I don't think you say that to Robert Fripp. I think you say, get all this noise out of my head, give me some clarity, that sort of thing. It is a stunning opening to this album. And this then brings us to song 2, track 2 on side A, obviously, because it is the second song on the album, song 2. And contrary to popular belief, it is not actually a cover of Blur's song 2. Now, that would have been innovation, the ability to cover and release a song years before it was even recorded in the first place. That's the sort of thing that Bowie's capable of, but not this time. So we've got this full-on stomper, this Bo Diddley groove going along with these demented guitars over the top. I'm going, oh, it's in my face again. But then it cuts to this multi-vocalist sort of chanting sing-along of the main part of the song. And the first time I listened to this after so many years of not listening to the album at all, I thought it was a really jarring experience. But now I tend to think of it as almost a soothing palate cleanser before we go into more of this abrasive rock and stomping grooves, which bookend the album, the Bo Diddley bookend the song, which the Bo Diddley sections does. I love the short moments of slap bass in here and these lyrics: more idols than realities. I'm okay, you're so. And I wonder whether this was a reference to Thomas Harris's book from the 60s and was ubiquitous in the 70s, I'm okay, you're okay. Anyway, I'm learning to love the song. And the next one is Scary Monsters. And now this was the third single in a total straight ahead rocker, which gets it point across through the feel of it. And I'm desperately trying to work out what goes into Robert Fripp's mind when he's creating these guitar solos, because it's from another planet. And the courage that Bowie would have, an artist of Bowie's stature, to just let a free rein go for Robert Fripp to put this guitar over his songs. It's incredible. And all those repeated ohs at the end would have been killer in a live concert situation. Great lyrics too. She could have been a killer if she didn't walk the way she do. And she do. She opened strange doors that we never close again. She began to wail, jealousy scream, waiting at the lights. You know what I mean. And we move along to the first single from the album, and it's Ashes to Ashes. And this is a completely outstanding song from start to finish for me. It might be my favorite Bowie song of all time, but I'm sure there might be others which sort of might wrestle that title away. But it's outstanding also for another reason, and that is because of the production. It doesn't sound like it's recorded live. It doesn't sound like it's recorded in a rehearsal room. It sounds very full and well produced. That opening synth piano line is beautifully underscored by the funk bass. It's a great opening to the song. We've got the killer melody, killer production, and the subject matter all instantly easy to sing along to. And is Bowie being self-referential with Major Tom now being a junkie and they're picking to some of the lines? And I ain't got no money and I ain't got no hair, but I'm hoping to kick. The planet is glowing. And time and again, I'll stay clean tonight. What a vocal also when he sings, I've never done good things. I've never done bad things. And also what he says is, and I want to come down right now. My mama said, to get things done, you better not mess with Major Tom. So is Major Tom now a heroine for a metaphor? Or is it a metaphor for heroin? I'm not sure. I'll give you two options there. Could be a metaphor for something else as well. And the synth line that really comes to the fore towards the end is absolute all chill and beauty and early 1980s goodness. I love it. So as I said, it's a contender for my favorite Bowie song and probably my favorite Bowie video as well. But all of a sudden, Stop right there. Wait, there's more. Fashion comes on, and that could be a contender for my favorite song these days. May have overtaken Ashes to Ashes, but when it came out, I was totally hit or miss on this song. I didn't know what to make of it, particularly the accompanying video, which was all surrealism, and I'd never heard anything like it. I'd never seen anything like it. And it becomes the second single from this album. And what is that whoop 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 whoop? That looping sound. It's probably something looped that begins the song, and I think it goes all the way through it. What is that sound? And then it's that stomping ground. Doom, 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 doom. Great riff from Fripp, and that chord, that ding, ding, is incredible. It's like a totally demented take on the New Romantic sound. And what about those lyrics to start? There's a brand new dance, but I don't know its name, that people from bad homes do again and again. It's big and it's bland, full of tension and fear. They do it over there, but we don't do it here. And there's always this juxtaposition going along in this on this album and on this song in particular. We've got one of Fripp's most incredible solos of all time, and he's borrowing, if for want of a better word, straight from his sort of Starless period guitar sound. And there's some sort of synth or guitar in the bottom of the left channel, which is sort of lurking there, a monster ready to get out. And more juxtaposition when they say they do it over here, but they don't do it here. Listen to me, don't listen to me. So many levels to this song, absolutely astonishing. And I love fashion, move to the right. Sorry, let me start again. Fashion, move to the left. Fashion, right. Oh, yeah. And the bass is so distorted, yet it stays so funky. Again, this song, just like Ashes to Ashes, sounds so different from the rest of the album, but that's probably because it's its own unique beast. Beep, beep. What's the sound? It's the sound of moving over to the second side of the album. Ha 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 ha. Beep, beep. So, side 2 opens with Teenage Wildlife. And okay, I'm going to say it. I'm sure it's been said so many times by other people. It's almost like a recognized brand of the Bowie iconography. Is he ripping off from himself here? Because my God, it does start sounding like Heroes at the beginning. But it's just the verses, and the build up at the end of them into the chorus is wonderful. Then that first solo by Robert Fripp, I've never heard him play so fast as this, and it's an amazing, amazing solo. You know, this wall of sound production ballad is not usually my type of thing, but I'm warming to it. I'm starting to get into this song much more. I'm starting to dig it. It grows and it grows. And is this song lyrically maybe an attack on the imitators, the people who might have claims to Bowie's throne? Those midwives to history put on their bloody robes, and the word is that the hunted one is out there on his own, and you're alone maybe for the last time, and you breathe for a long time, you howl like a wolf in a trap, and you daren't look behind like Coleridge's Ancient Mariner. And then he has that wonderful line, I'm not some piece of teenage wildlife. Starting to really enjoy this. We move then on to Screams Like a Baby, which is just meant to disorient and discombobulate the listener. This is avant-garde rock with some bizarre synth sounds, which really, again, lurk down in the bottom of the mix and are desperate to come out. They're quite freaky. It's almost, in many ways, a progressive rock song, I would think, the way that the song seamlessly jumps from one section to the next, and it goes in places that you don't expect it to go. And that's one of the things about listening to the album over and over again, that I'm starting to get more used to those dissonant jumps. There's dystopian lyrics here with these very speed vocals used to create alternate lead vocals at one point, which sounds like somebody screaming like a baby, except being able to talk. They came down hard on the street. They came down harder on Sam, and they all knew he was beat. He was thrown into the wagon, blindfolded, chains, and they stomped on us and took away our clothes and things and pumped us full of strange drugs. And oh, I saw Sam falling, spitting in his eyes. But now I lay me down to sleep, and now I close my eyes. All in the sense that we're closing our eyes to the horrors of the world, but I think that's part of the paranoia that Bowie is exploring and extrapolating here, that we've got to keep our eyes open to make sure that people don't get away with things that they shouldn't be getting away with. The next song is the cover on this album, and it's a cover of Tom Verlaine's Kingdom Come. Now, I'm fully prepared to be slammed right now. Wonder if I should give you the time to do it, but I don't dig it. This is the one song which hasn't improved for me on repeated listens. And I know, I'm going against one of the darlings of the punk, post-punk genres, but I just don't get it. And the provenance of this song sounds really rooted in the early 60s. It's almost like it could be being used as an oral cleanser, a palate cleanser, but for me, it's just there. I'm indifferent to it, which is something we should never say about anything on a Bowie album, and it just seems really to go nowhere. Jumps us into the second last track, and it's Because You're Young, and we've got these horror sounds springing out of the keyboard, and Bowie starts singing after the opening riff, and I really didn't expect it to go musically where it does, which again, when you're young, these sort of things hit you because you're young. These things hit you at the time and you go, oh, it doesn't fit in with my minimal perspective of my minimal worldview and my perspective on music, so I'll just shunt it elsewhere. It almost has a Rocky Horror Show, nightmarish Halloween sort of feel to it, which is only appropriate given that it is Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. I love some of these lyrics too. Psychodelicate girl. What a couplet there. What a phrase, should I say. Psychodelicate girl, come out to play. Little metal-faced boy, don't stay away. They're so war-torn and resigned. She can't talk anymore. What are they trying to prove? What would they like to find? I'm not sure how much I love this song, particularly that doo-woppy section as part of the chorus, but it's a creeper nonetheless. It's getting in, and it's got a bit of Pete Townshend on here, which I haven't actually distinguished or differentiated from the other guitarists. Naughty me. But still, you'll know it and you'll probably tell me, and that's a good thing because I like to have my understanding and my knowledge expanded. This brings us up to the final track on the album, which is It's No Game Part 2. And all of a sudden, everything's stripped back. There's a relaxed feel to it. It's almost a sense of take a breath. After everything we've been through, we need a breath. Now, of course, there's no Fripp to frighten us. The vocals are measured and Bowie's not screaming and screeching here. There's none from Michi Hirota. Now, thinking about this, years ago, I would have preferred this version to It's No Game Part 1, but that has all now changed. I really enjoy this version, but Part 1 is the one that I really love. And so I am capable of change and having my thoughts, what's the word for it? My thoughts changed, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say, and my position altered. And can I come up with more synonyms for changed and altered, positioned, influenced, all those sorts of things? I love this killer line. Children around the world put camel on the walls. They're making carpets on treadmills or garbage sorting, and it's no game. Fantastic way to end out the album. And I've gone from a position where I didn't really value this album and didn't want it in my collection to taking a $10 stab. Look at that beautiful cover there. Taking a $10 stab and going for it. But wait, there's always more. And the more is in the shape of a B-side, the song Crystal Japan, which is the B-side to the single of Up the Hills Backwards. Now, this was the original consideration of a closer, but as my friend King B said, it has a very transitory feel to it. But what I'm saying, it's stately, it's eerie, it's disembodied. Reminds me quite a lot of the theme from Twin Peaks, actually. And if you put them side by side, I think they do have that same sort of moody, atmospheric link. Or even another thing of being outside a spaceship. Do they still have spaceships? A spaceship, and looking down on the world and to see those lights everywhere like crystals. So what is the Japanese link? Well, there's some instrumentation, which is Japanese for sure, but it was also used for a commercial for a Japanese alcoholic beverage called shochu. And this is interesting. So I'm going to get immediately on to what I do with the track order because I'm going to challenge it. I'm going to talk it through, and I'm going to wait for the barbs of abuse that hit me in the column, in the comments. And if you love the track listing the way it is, then all for it. But this, if I was going to put a shuffle together, shall we say, this is what I would do. The first thing I would do is follow up It's No Game Part 1 with Ashes to Ashes. I don't feel as though it sits really well as track 4. I'd love it to come up to track 2. And then I'm thinking about taking Crystal Japan and putting it as the opening side of track 2, which means I have to jettison a song, and I'm jettisoning Kingdom Come from the album. Well, it can fit in there somewhere, or on the box set, I suppose. Just doesn't do anything for me. It may do for you. So I'm putting Crystal Japan as the opening track on side 2. I would then probably put Teenage Wildlife as the closer on side A, and move Fashion to the second track on side B. So we've got those two singles not being so out of place, and they come in at the track 2 on both sides of the album. Of course, if we didn't want to go that sort of radical, we could just keep Teenage Wildlife as track 2 of side 2 and leave Fashion down at the closing of side A or side 1. That would be work a little bit better for me. How about you? Or would you just leave everything the same? I know there are going to be some people out there who absolutely worship and love this album. I'm on my way, but I don't know whether I'm ever going to get there. So it's Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, and there's paranoia and fear running all over this album. There's that sense that what we must do is keep our eyes open. You know, we've got Scary Monsters and Super Creeps, keep me running, keep me scared. And this isn't some Hollywood construct coming out of LA or New York or England for that matter. I think Bowie's talking about these super monsters and scary creeps. Was that a better album title? I'm not sure, but they're in our midst, and paranoia and fear might just be warranted, so let's not close our eyes. Anyway, more so than a lot of albums, I've got so much pleasure out of revisiting this album. Who would have known my thoughts could change? I was speaking to a friend of mine after my first listen saying, you know what, I just don't get it. And he replied by saying, it's art. You've got to give it time. You've got to give it listening, and you've got to give it listening time. And so I really found a lot of pleasure in this album and going back and discovering it and rediscovering it, should I say. And remember, if music of any size, shape, sound, or Scary Monsters and Super Creeps gives you pleasure, then who am I to argue with your opinion? I hope you've enjoyed coming on this journey with me, this journey of rediscovery. And if you'd like to continue that journey, there are some interesting albums and good reviews up there, which I think you might like if you'd like to dip into the Institute of Pop's oeuvre, if you will. Anyway, until next time, I hope you're doing really well, staying cool, and bye now.